Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Come Sit With Us here at EBS. We're very happy to have you here with us today, as we always are, of course. My name is Steve. Today, we're talking about rocks in the stream. And this is an analogy that I came across some time ago. And last night, I was in a meditation group, and we were all kind of sharing our stories, and, none of them any better or worse than anyone else. It's just the stories that we have. And it's our life stories that we're sharing with each other. And it does kind of bring to mind that sometimes, believe it or not, in life, we go through a few valleys. We have these periods of time where, things aren't quite happening the way we want them to. Surprise, isn't it? That is really life. That's part of what living is. Now, I imagine that there are some times when we live a life where everything is perfect, right? Would we not want to have that? Kind of yes, but really I'm not really sure either. No challenges, no crises to deal with, nothing that challenges you as a person to kind of force you to have to see things differently. None of that happens. But in my life, as maybe in your life, that's not how it is. It really is. We go through some times that really do challenge us personally. And sometimes it's because of the silly decisions that we've made. I can raise my hand to that. And sometimes it's just because of the situations that we're in. It might be the loss of a loved one. Something with people that we care about that's happening that concerns us, or it might be through, ill health or whatever. And, in this day and age, it's kind of hard not to understand that, because it seems like you can kind of look around you and see where people have had some real significant challenges as a whole, kind of going through. And so we know those valleys are just part of life. That's just part of the deal. I think that was kind of Buddhist teaching, is saying that, suffering is part of this journey. And once you understand it, then it becomes a teacher to you. It's not the slave master that's beating you down every day. It's the teacher that helps you understand yourself better and maybe frees you up from some of your karmic hang-ups or whatever it all might be, right? But there's a difference between going through a tough time and feeling beat down from it and going through a tough time and learning from it. And so it would be fair to say that some of these valleys that we go through, some of them are rather long and wide and take a while to get to the other end. Sometimes we may spend a lifetime getting to the other end. Sometimes we may spend a day or two trying to figure out the other end of that, right? And in the process, how do we go about that without feeling beat down, feeling hurt, maybe feeling angry, maybe feeling unworthy, maybe feeling that you are not a good person because of these things that are happening to you. And those are legitimate, real events that happen to us. Now, the monkey mind loves that kind of stuff. The monkey mind thrives on these sort of things, because once we start thinking about poor me, then that becomes that repetitive thought that seems to build an echo and echo and echo in our lives. And that's that monkey mind quality of just a perseverance on the hardship that we may be going through. The meditative mind, on the other hand, recognizes the hardship, clearly sees it, clearly does whatever is needed to deal with it in a productive fashion, common sense kind of thing. But also I would say that the meditative mind also has that ability to see around it, a bigger, broader picture. It's not just locked in on the immediate crisis at hand, or the hardship that we're going through. It doesn't just see that. Instead, it probably sees a little bit bigger picture, and it is trying to, in my mind, and this is a poor way of saying it, is trying to help us to understand what we're learning here. And as we understand that lesson a little bit better, then maybe it changes the dynamics of that situation somewhat, right? And that is, I think, something that when we practice our meditations, that there are a lot of benefits to that. We all know that. We all know that the benefits of good health and hopefully our sanity and things like that, but also providing increased insight into the world that we live in, you know? Someone told me one time, and I think this is really very true, is that we all are given maps that we follow, okay? Sometimes the person giving us the map didn't exactly do a very good job of drawing out a good one, you know? Sometimes the map we choose to see and follow maybe really isn't the best, but we all use maps to navigate our way through life. And for those that have maps that are really distorted or not healthy, then that's all they see in their life is that map. And everything that they see is just replicated on that map. For those who maybe have been a little bit more fortunate and have had a healthy, I don't know, better way to say it, way of looking at things, then that map they carry really looks a lot differently, okay? Now, if you are like me, that I think I have some parts of my being that are pretty good maps. I think I also have some parts of my being of maps that are somewhat distorted. And when I give in to them and let myself see the world through those eyes, then I know that, you know, I'm echoing a message that was given to me that really isn't that accurate or correct in a sense. And so part of my meditation practice is that sense of wanting to open up to that part of me that has that wisdom, that part of me that has that intuitive understanding, that part of me that also has that compassion, that part of me that has that love and understanding, and to participate in that aspect of who I naturally am and what is there. The Buddha, you know, said, was it 2,500 years ago, is recognize the Buddha inside of you. And I think all the religions say that in just different ways, but I like that in the sense that there is that part of you that is wise, that is loving and caring, and on and so forth. And that a lot of times, because of our maps, we don't recognize it, and we don't allow that to come into our way of thinking and into our perceptions and such. And so meditation, on one hand, is maybe it's kind of about redrawing the maps a little bit, you know, so that the next time we come across a situation where we formerly saw it and reacted to it in maybe an unhealthy way, maybe with a little meditative practice, when we come across that situation, we can begin to see our responses that are developing and understand them a little bit more, and then not be so driven to have to act them out, right? It's still going to be there. It's still part of the show, but you're not forced to, out of habit, just to act upon those impulses. Maybe you see those impulses, you understand them better. Maybe they hold less power over you, you know, if you will. There's a meditation that someone shared with us one time, and it is seeing the Buddha in front of you. And in this particular practice, it was the blue Buddha. If you look at some of the pictures, you'll notice that that's not uncommon to see that Buddha painted in blue. And think of that as kind of a healing sort of event, healing force or energy that's there. Anyway, so you see and picture this blue Buddha in front of you, and then just feel that connection that is naturally there. And as that connection becomes stronger, then perhaps some of the qualities that are represented in that entity, in that thought that you have, and on and so forth, you begin to hold those a little bit. And then when we do, maybe then our maps kind of get redrawn and cleared up just a tad, which is not a bad thing, right? So, long-winded way of kind of getting to the point of the rock in the stream. And so here's the analogy, incredibly simple analogy, but boy, really effective too. What does the rock experience in the stream? All the rock knows is turbulence around its borders, and that this turbulence is trying to push it down the road. This turbulence is trying to wear it down, and in essence, it feels that this is a threat to it, and with that feeling of uncertainty comes fear, and on and so forth. And that's the world that it lives in a sense, is that continuous turbulence that is causing uncertainty, that causes fear, and off you go, like that. That's the rock in the stream. The stream, on the other hand, knows nothing but flow. And in that state of flow, everything it comes upon, rock, leaf, fish, doesn't matter, everything it comes upon, it tries to absorb it in its own nature. What the rock feels is that it's getting worn down and such. What the stream feels is returning back to its source. And in the stream's world, it is all things are completely surrounded by this state of flow that's happening all the time. And that state of flow is trying to draw all things back to their source. And so sometimes those thoughts that we have, those maps that we have, are those pebbles in the stream, surrounded by turbulence. They know nothing but fear, and they feel threatened and on and so forth. Whereas the truth of it is, if we can imagine standing in that state of flow, then it's like I get the sense sometimes, it's almost like we are returning home, returning back to our nature, our very essence of who we are, is where we are coming back to. And so today's meditation is one of returning to a state of flow, and in that sense, returning to or exercising being open, having an openness about you, okay? And the way we're going to practice that openness is through here. This is that place where we feel connected to others, where we probably, think of compassion, both coming from us and us receiving it. And so today we're going to practice just visualizing this area of compassion and just allowing it to open and to open and to open. Okay, let's see how it goes today. All right, guys, if you are, like me, sitting in a chair, then sit with back straight. If you're on a cushion, of course, back straight. Feel comfortable wherever you're sitting. It's just feeling comfortable and feel alert. And start to slow your breathing down just a hair. Take a couple of deep breaths. And as you do this, begin to focus on your body. And feel your body begin to relax. And feel it begin to open up. With each breath in, we relax a little more and a little more. As I relax, I feel my body begin to settle. And I try to feel the space around my body. I try to be aware of my presence in this room. And as I do this, I feel myself begin to open and my mind begin to settle. For the next several minutes, I'm going to focus on bringing my breath up through my body, out through my heart, and with each breath in, I draw that breath up through me. With each breath out, I allow that breath to come through my heart, out, opening this door a little further and a little further each time. And I want to imagine myself being connected to that greater force, that greater life that surrounds me, that is part of me. And I want to begin to open myself up to that with each breath. With each breath out, that heart opens a little wider and a little wider. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And for a second, see if you can feel your presence in the room you're in. Imagine your presence filling that room. Let's open our eyes. Take a couple of breaths. So sometimes I think with these kind of exercises, it is a reminder that we don't have to always have all the answers to everything, and that we don't always have to be doing great all the time. We kind of want or do better with the full array of human experience. And so with good days, that's great, appreciate them. With days that are tough, that's great, appreciate them. You're going to appreciate them in a different way, maybe. But I think that as we cultivate our meditations, that our ability to go through those kind of tough days, maybe we can do it with a little bit of a lighter touch, if you will. And if we can have that, then that's not bad. And if we can have that, then maybe we can share that with others. Because you don't ever have to look too far to find someone who might be in a little bit more of a need for understanding, compassion, patience than yourself, right? And so, keep your eyes open, keep your heart open, if you will, and go through those valleys with a lighter touch. And when you really are in the heart of the valley, if you will, then maybe look around you, and instead of worrying about yourself for a few seconds, reach out to someone else. In that meditative mind, reach out to someone else and stand by them for a second. And then maybe once we practice that skill, maybe everything does have a little bit of a lighter touch to it. That would be the hope, at least, wouldn't it? All right, guys, thank you very much. Certainly appreciate everything, and we will see you guys next time. All right.